Hello, Taunton Family Church. I've put together this video just to update you on what we've been doing as a leadership team in terms of really finding a way to engage and serve our community. And we've been praying for that for really the whole of the last 6 months, really saying, God, where do we fit in? How can we really serve in Taunton and the wider Taunton area? And recently I was approached by Safe Families, which is a sort of organization in the UK that really looks after and helps the most vulnerable families. And it just seems such a great match. And I asked them to come and speak to our leadership team, and all of us just felt immediately that this was from God. Helen, who is a volunteer manager, was in the church in Yeovil with Jeff and Laurie, and it just seemed this God connection. And what Safe Families uh, do to support vulnerable families just seems so right for where we are as a church. So please listen to the interview I do with Helen. And then afterwards, I'm just going to briefly sort of give you some idea on how we could possibly and how you could possibly be involved if you feel it's right. Well, it's fantastic to be here. I'm with Helen, who's a coordinator, volunteer manager with Safe Families. And that's an organization we've recently, probably a month ago, I suppose, Helen, you phoned me and we
Mm.
started chatting. And then Helen and a colleague came on to a Zoom call with the leadership team. That's with Chris and Paul and myself. And we just spoke through what Safe Families were about. And we immediately felt in our hearts, this is right. This seems so right for us as a church. So I've asked Helen to do this call with me, just so that we can share with everyone in the church just what Safe Families is about. And I think it's one of the most exciting things. I really believe God's in this. So I want everyone just in the church just to hear what it's all about so that we can together see and maybe get involved with Safe Families. So welcome, Helen.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
to have you with us. Why don't you tell us? I know you in Yeovil Church, and you knew Jeff and Laurie. So why don't you tell us
Yeah,
a
we
little bit
did.
about that, because that's quite fun.
Yeah, we did. When did we start? We started going to the family church, I think, mainly because we needed families for the children. They were about 7 and 5 when we
Yeah,
first went. Um, we spent many happy years there actually with Jeff and Laurie. I did a lot of the children's work there, obviously having two youngsters
yeah,
myself. We got involved in groups, met my to-be future colleague Dawn and Colin, her family, and you would be ending up working with Safe Families all these years later.
amazing.
Um, yeah, got involved in the music scene. We had a lovely time. Jeff and Laurie were great, and it was very sad to lose them to Taunton, even though we knew very much it was God's calling on their lives.
Mhm.
Mm.
It's amazing. All these years, yeah, we are connecting again. Um,
Yeah.
so now, Safe Families. They've got a wonderful website. I know Safe Families is Christian. Why don't you tell us a little bit how sort of Safe Families, just a little bit about their background and just the Christian side. So, and how you connect with churches uh, in your ministry, and then we can talk about what you do.
Okay. Well, Safe Families has been in the UK for about 7 years now, and it started in America by a psychologist who was approached by a mom in desperate need, and he couldn't meet that need in
Mhm.
his current role, so he set about doing something about it. Um, it came to the UK through a gentleman called Peter Vardy, who had the Red Vardy very successful car dealership. When he retired, he had a lot of money, and he's a strong and committed, faithful Christian, and he wanted to do something useful with it. Had a look around, came across Safe Families in America, and thought, this is so what we need in the UK. And he brought it to the UK. All the money he invested was matched by the government, which is a miracle in itself.
Amazing.
And we have gradually been linking up with churches and local authorities across the country. We're part of the South and Southwest region, which goes so far to East Sussex and then to Wales. So we're quite a big region around here.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And I know, so just for those, I hope you'll go and have a look at the website, but I mean, the council and everyone knows that this is a Christian organization. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, they very much do. We don't hide it at all. All the families that we work with know that we're a Christian organisation, and I think the response is incredible that the church are actually doing what we say we're doing, trying to bring community and belonging to isolated families, just trying to show them love, God's love, in simple, practical ways.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and it is so practical and so real. And so, say families. How does it work? What do you do with families? So, say families sort of looks after sort of families that are in need, but maybe just tell us how that works, how you get referrals, just to give people a flavor of what it means to be a volunteer in Safe Families.
Well, we exist, we work around the church and around the families and around the volunteers, but we do have some contracts with the local authority, which is brilliant in itself. And the aim of those is basically to stop the trajectory into care for children and young people, rather than trying to, fix it when it's too late almost. We're trying to start earlier on, bring in help and support and encouragement earlier on. So we have a contract with the local authority. We can get referred through churches, through schools, through social workers, through GPs. And our family support manager has a meeting with all these agencies, and then they decide who they think would be best to help. And a lot of times it's Safe Families. And yeah, and then so it's good actually, because we have the family support manager. She goes and meets the family first. She works out goals with them, sees them in their own home. She does a risk assessment. So by the time we're sending in volunteers, trained volunteers, you know that you're safe and you know that you're supported, and you've got clear goals to work for as you establish friendships and lovely friendships most of the time with these moms and families.
Yeah. So chatting to you, I mean, I worked in housing for a while, so I've got a little bit of a feel for it. But so you've got single moms or single dads or young couples that are just struggling a bit with life, just need someone to come alongside them and help them maybe budget or do better with their food preparation, or just have some goals, maybe timekeeping goals or things like that. And your volunteers come in and just help them slowly work through some of those areas that they've identified on their own. So that am I correct in understanding that's how it works?
You are, yeah. We have 3 different types of volunteers, and what's been fantastic, it came as a necessity from lockdown actually.
Yeah.
You can't just stop. It cut people off. People were already isolated. Lockdown made it worse. So we have what we call Connect Friends, which is what it says, via the phone, via the text, via Zoom if you want to, WhatsApp, all these new technologies we've discovered. And I can't emphasize enough how much difference having a cheerful, encouraging, positive voice at the end of the phone saying, "How are you?
Yes.
How are you doing? You're doing a great job with the family. You're doing a great job with homeschooling, whatever you think." And we've had so many lovely stories come back saying just to know someone was out there caring when all our other support networks have been stripped away, which was what lockdown did for a lot of people, already vulnerable people. Moving up from that, our family friends, which we're getting back into now, where you actually meet the family. So yes, you can phone every other week and maybe every other week pop round for a visit. The things you can do are amazing. You can just sit and have a coffee, just take mum or dad or both out of the house, kick a football around in the garden with a child, and have a bit of energy. Do a bit of decluttering, sit down and do a budget or chat about healthy meals. There are so many practical things. With some of the children, I'm not at all crafty, but with some of our more crafty volunteers, they've started great things with the children. They're taking machine and crochet and all kinds of craft, which was a gift that God didn't give me, sadly, but I can do other things. So there's so many things that you can do. It makes such a difference.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I love that it's just so practical. And having worked in housing and worked with single families and families that are really struggling, I can imagine how invaluable this is, because I've at times worked with a family and just wished I had an agency, someone else who could come alongside just seeing how lonely and alone they are, you know. So this sounds wonderful, and it's wonderful. People who have some life skills, have lived for a while, have
Absolutely.
dealt with their own children, have dealt with things, are the ideal people just to calmly come alongside and say, you know what, this has all happened before. You're not the first person this has happened to, and there is a way through it. So that's great, really great. So so tell me a bit more about how volunteers get involved, because I love the way your scheme runs with, you know, them signing up and then they have a chance to. I love that idea. So tell us a bit more about that.
Okay. Well, if you generally sign up through the website, put in a little application, and then Dawn and myself will meet you. Say, meet you 2020 meeting. We can do it like this, or
Yeah,
depending on restrictions,
yeah,
go meet for a coffee and a chat. The purpose of that is just to get to know you. What do you like doing? What are you really good at? You'll be amazed, because I've been through this process myself as a volunteer, thinking I didn't really bring a lot to it. And
yeah,
Mary talking to me was saying, "Oh, that's brilliant. That'll be really useful." So all the things, you know, that you do, that you like doing, your hobbies and interests, will be fantastic in families. So we do that just to find out a little bit more about you. Then we have training, a couple of
yeah,
training modules which
mhm,
we can do online like
yeah,
this. They're quite good. They work quite well. And then a face-to-face one if you want to be a family. We've
okay,
actually seen you and interacted.
mm,
The volunteer community is fantastic. When we used to meet in real life, we had
yeah,
some quite good Christmas
mm,
get-togethers and green teas. We're
mm,
trying to do those virtually, virtual coffee
yeah,
mornings. It's still nice to engage, and
yeah,
obviously, there's a team of volunteers locally. You know,
mm,
you meet up and chat and support each other as well.
mm,
Be
mm,
lovely. So you've always got safe families around you. If you walk into a family one day and no food, you immediately turn around and call us, and we can get
mm,
emergency food in there.
yeah,
Any kind of need you come across, you
mm,
know, as
mm,
part of Safe Families, that you can come to us.
yeah,
If you find the children lying on the floor or something, it can be extreme now,
mm,
but you know, times are hard and they're getting harder.
mm,
You come out, you call us, we have the
mm,
resources and
mm,
the contacts to get that sorted out
mm,
and to
mm,
bring practical love into the situation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's so. I mean, I love what you say, because it is, you know, being on your own, it will be overwhelming, but knowing you've got this national organization almost now, um,
Yeah,
with resources behind you, with knowledge, with social workers, with skilled people behind you, that you're not on your
yeah,
own. And if there's any issues, you pick up the phone and you've got a local coordinator and you've got people around you can help. And so
absolutely.
you're doing it as part of a team. That's great. And I think that's what's drawn me to Safer Families is it is a family, it is a team working together, and you're part of that team. And that's fantastic. That's really good. And I love that aspect to it, and that
Mm,
it's overtly Christian, so you don't have to hide your faith. Although
not at
obviously
all.
you've got to honor
No.
people, and you've got to, you know, be aware of what's, you know, appropriate at times. But it does mean that we can bring our faith into conversations, bring our faith into situations, which is really appealing to me, because I've worked in situations where you're not able to speak about your faith, and that's really
Mm,
difficult when you know what they need is Jesus. They need someone to pray for them. They need just to hear about the love of God, you know. So
yeah.
yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we're going to just share this now. So we're going to they can look at your website, and they can
Absolutely.
email you directly. I think that's might be the easiest way to just register an interest,
Yeah.
and then you'll chat to them and sort of
Yeah.
help
That'd
them
be
through the
lovely.
process.
Hmm.
Brilliant, brilliant. So we're going to, I hope, as a church, we're going to be definitely praying for safe families, and really supporting you, Helen. Just before we
Thank
go,
you.
I know you were telling me earlier that there's a lot of need
Mm,
in, you know, sort of Taunton and Bridgewater.
there
What's
is.
happening here? Can you tell me a bit more about that, and just you say?
Um, I don't know why specifically there.
Mm,
Um, I think a lot of it coming in is families just feeling totally overwhelmed.
mm,
They've got no support network. They've had 6 months of homeschooling.
mm,
They're just there's a lot of anxiety.
mm,
Um, there's a lot of people just needing someone to walk
mm,
alongside, say
mm,
you're doing a good job.
mm,
Yeah, anxiety and and worry.
Mm.
I do think at all times actually, but especially this year,
Mm.
how would you face the uncertainties and the fear
Yeah.
of COVID and everything else without a faith?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can totally understand, but
Yeah.
anxiety, feeling that you're just not good enough, feeling overwhelmed
Mm.
with day-to-day life are the main issues
Yeah. Yeah.
at the moment that are coming in. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they just need. It sounds so simple, but you can't underestimate it. Really,
No.
they
No.
need a friend,
Yeah. Yeah.
someone
Yeah. It's
to be
just.
there alongside.
Yeah.
And a Christian friend with a faith is just the most amazing privilege, I think. You know, that
Oh.
we're actually invited and encouraged to work with families.
Mm. Mm. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think we forget, for many people, they were on the edge before the whole lockdown thing started.
Absolutely.
They were on the edge, just hanging in, and this has just pushed them over the edge.
Yeah.
And so, if we can be there for them, that'll be awesome. So, thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited because I believe we've got people in our congregation with incredible skills and
You
life
do.
skills,
Yeah.
and our heart is to reach young families. And so, I know it's not just young families, but it's part of it. So we really look forward to seeing how this all works out, and I'm excited to be involved with Safe Family. So
I am, and I'm
thank you so
excited
much,
to hear
Helen.
about how you and your church continue to serve your community. That's why we love working with in
Yeah.
partnership with churches, because we can hear and encourage you in what you're doing. It's a
Oh, absolutely.
privilege.
Absolutely. We've been looking for something like this. So bless you, Helen. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
And we look forward to talking more.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed that interview and you've got a sense of what Safe Families do. As a leadership team, three of the couples on the leadership team, have already felt we would like to be involved. And we just want to open this up to church, just say, here's an opportunity for us as a congregation, as a community, as Taunton Family Church, to really make a difference in our town, just bringing God's love. So the way to respond, if you feel it's for you, is to just show your interest by sending an email. It doesn't mean you're signing up to anything. Helen will then contact you and just have a chat with you so you can ask her any questions. Once you do the training, you are just in a bank of volunteers and you get to choose who you wish to help and who you wish to partner with. The whole way Safe Families is set up is it's totally voluntary as to how much you do, how you get involved, and where you get involved. So it's a very easy commitment, and it can change depending on your circumstances. So please pray about it. Drop me an email or phone me if you want to talk a bit more, and email Helen if you feel it's right for you. Thanks so much for watching this. Look forward to seeing what God's going to do with us and as we partner with Safe Families.